not a 5 touchdown or 6 touchdown game.
Definitely.
We already touched on Michigan Army.
Yep.
Iowa Rutgers, not much to say.
Not
Rutgers
surprising.
Sucks. Nate Stanley throws 3 touchdowns. He's a good quarterback out of the Big Ten. A lot of people are going to overlook him, don't know who he is because he plays in Iowa.
Especially if you put them in Kinnick. It's like lights out. Forget it.
Kinnick is like the one place that I would not want to go play if I were a college football player. I'd go to the Big House of Michigan. I'd go to the Horseshoe of Ohio State. I'd go to Happy Valley for Penn State. I'd go to Death Valley for LSU or Clemson, whichever you pick. I do not want to go to Kinnick.
No.
No.
I mean, it's, if Rutgers, if anything, wanted to make themselves relevant, they would have put up a stronger fight and scored, but not the case.
What really caught my eye about this game, though, and the reason we're not just glancing over it, is the passing yards for Rutgers. Between 2 quarterbacks, they combined for 47 yards. Carter went 6 for 16 for 28 yards. Sitkowski went 4 for 11 for 19 yards.
Pretty pathetic.
That's pathetic. That's the exact word I was going to use. Pathetic. It's entirely pathetic that a scholarship quarterback throws for 48 yards.
Can't break 100.
No, can't break 50.
Yeah, that would. Yeah, don't raise the bar too high on him. I guess.
Apparently,
let him get comfortable and then aim for that next goal. But damn.
All right, we're going to take this out of order. We're going to move on. Stay in the Big Ten.
I hope. Let's just say this. So I hope Iowa does turn that stat around, and because they're usually right up there, being a little competitive too. So hopefully that's not going to define their season by any means.
Rutgers?
Iowa. To have that quarterback stat.
Oh, yeah, no. Iowa. Oh, no. Both of those quarterbacks were for Rutgers. Iowa's quarterback threw for like 250 with 3 touchdowns. Nate Stanley, he had himself a decent game.
Okay. Well,
both of those quarterbacks were Rutgers quarterbacks. Sounds like Rutgers.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Excuse me. Big Ten. Stay with the Big Ten. We're going to go to number 15, Penn State. Escaped with a 45-13 victory over Buffalo. Not
surprising. You made it look easy.
Yeah, not a great showing for Penn State rushing. Clifford, 279 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. It's a good day at the office for him. Pat Freiermuth catching 2 touchdowns. Dotson also catching 2 touchdowns. This was a rough game early on. Buffalo was actually leading 10-7 at the half, and then Penn State scored 28 in the third quarter and 10 more in the fourth to combine for a 45-13 win. I liked seeing the 45-13 win. I didn't like seeing being down 10-7 at the half.
Right. Yeah.
Slow starts against teams like Ohio State are going to kill you. You can't have it.
No.
If you want to win, if you even have a joke of a chance to get to the playoff, which I'm saying right now, going into week 3 of college football, I don't give Penn State any chance of making the playoff. It's going to be Ohio State out of the Big Ten, if any one of the Big Ten is going to make it. As
we predicted, yeah.
Yeah, as pretty much everyone who's not riding Michigan's dick has predicted.
Well, I mean, I don't think have to worry too much about Michigan at this point, but crazier things have happened.
Yeah, crazier things have happened, so you can't just completely write them off, but it doesn't look like Penn State is going to make the playoff, in my opinion. I don't think Michigan will either. If the Big Ten has a representative, it's going to come out of Columbus.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to the next game. We already touched on Maryland-Syracuse. Maryland comes away 63-20. 63-20.
Yeah. No, I don't think anybody would call that
No. And the quarterback, Josh Jackson, for Maryland, transferred from Virginia Tech. And he, if he had played like this at Virginia Tech, the way he played at these last couple games at Maryland,
Yep.
then you would be talking about a Heisman winner, a national champion. He wouldn't have had to come to Maryland. He could have left Virginia Tech, went to the NFL.
Yep.
So it's such a shame because when we had Tom Gaz on last year, we highlighted him as a potential Heisman candidate. And this year, he's a grad transfer to Maryland. It's
So
kinda
things
sad.
switch up, yeah.
But
Well, then again, too, my favorite for the Heisman is Trevor Lawrence, but it was off to a shaky start as well.
he's not
so,
looking very good.
Yeah.
But Tommy DeVito didn't have a horrible game either. I mean, let's take a look at it. He went 28 for 39, 330 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception.
3-to-1 ratio, not bad.
No, he thoroughly outplayed Josh Jackson. Josh Jackson went 21 of 38, 296 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. And yet, the quarterback who didn't quite perform as well ended up winning 63-20.
Unreal.
Right?
Yep.
Insane. All right. Utah, Northern Illinois. This game never seemed like it was in question. Utah beat Northern Illinois 35-17. Utah hasn't been looking like a playoff contender, unfortunately. They're my pick to come out of the Pac-12 to go to the playoffs, but they're not looking as sharp as I would hope they would. Their quarterback
Huntley,
he's performing below what I expected. This week,
1 touchdown.
1 touchdown, 214 yards on 14 of 19. But then also, what do you expect when you're only throwing it 19 times?
That's just it, yeah. And also, it was a ton of rushing here. Of course, heavily favored Zach Moss, 18 for 80, 4.4 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns.
They almost doubled the number of carries as they did passes. They had 37 team rushes to 19 passes.
Yep.
One more, they would have doubled it. Yeah, so Huntley can only perform as well as the coach will allow him when you're only throwing it 19 times.
Right, yeah. So at some point, change it up. So I remember, if I remember right, that was a Thursday night game?
No, this one or
the Utah
one before.
Or I'm thinking probably the one before. Yep.
Utah BYU. That was a Friday night game last week.
Yep.
No, this one was on Saturday. But we're gonna move on.
Yep.
For the sake of moving on. The game that everyone was all excited for and ended up not being as good as I had hoped it would. Clemson beat Texas A&M 20-14. Clemson didn't cover, but the game never really looked like Texas A&M had a chance, even though they were thoroughly outplaying Clemson at times.
Yep.
Quarterback play, not too vastly different. Kellen Mond went 24 of 42, 236 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Trevor Lawrence, 24 of 35, 268 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception.
Yeah.
The teams weren't all that different, except between Corbin, Spiller, and Mond, they finished with 53 rushing yards for Texas A&M, as opposed to Clemson's 121.
Yeah. Not pretty lousy on A&M's part.
Yeah, and the leading rusher for Clemson wasn't even Travis Etienne. He had 16 carries for 53 yards.
And
Texas
Dixon.
A&M did a great job of keeping him in check.
Yep. I remember, too, that was one of our games we had predicted, and if I recall right, a lot of us were saying that A&M would hold. but I think it was the 12 or 14.
We did.
Yep.
It was a 20-point spread.
20, yeah.
Well, I think all of us except you picked A&M.
Yep.
Yeah.
Picked A&M.
Anyways, 24-10 in what was supposed to be the game of the week. If you're a Wisconsin fan, the next game was the game of the week.
Yeah. And here, that's the thing, though. You still have on here, I don't know if it changes by this week, but going in, they had Clemson still ranked as number 1. And against Syracuse here, they still have them ranked as number 1.
Yeah, Clemson is still number 1. Alabama's still number 2.
I could see that changing.
Perhaps. Perhaps it will. The next game is the the Wisconsin-Central Michigan game. Wisconsin beat Central Michigan 61-0.
Nice blank.
Yeah. Do you know who played at Central Michigan?
Quarterback or which position?
This position I'm thinking of is a wide receiver.
Not sure.
Antonio Brown.
Oh, well, yeah.
And we'll get to him a little bit later.
Yep.
But looks like the Wisconsin passing situation, losing Alex Hornibrook as a grad transfer.
Total of 43 yards.
What was that?
Central Michigan?
No. For Wisconsin.
Oh, here. Yep.
Jack Cohn. Is that his name? Jack? I think it's Jack. Yeah, Jack Cohn. He had himself quite a game. 26-33, 363 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Yep.
It's a good passing game. Jonathan Taylor had a cool 102 yards on 19 carries with 3 touchdowns.
Very productive.
Yes, and then
Grosh, Watson, and making up the rest here.
There were a bunch of people who touched the ball. They ended up getting 199 total rushing yards, 400 total passing yards on 31 of 39.
Cephas 2 touchdowns, Taylor 1 touchdown. Yep. And a field day.
It's crazy. But yeah, Central Michigan just absolutely blanked 61-0 by Wisconsin.
Dog shit.
Now we're going to get to that Colorado-Nebraska game.
All right.
Colorado-Nebraska.
Also one of our picks. Yep.
Nebraska went up big. Colorado came back. Colorado upsets number 25 Nebraska 34-31 on a last-second field goal. Well, last second because it was overtime. A game-winning is what I meant to say. Game-winning field goal in overtime.
Yep.
Colorado beats Nebraska. Do you think Nebraska is overrated?
I kind of want to say yes. I think they can play teams hard, but I don't think they deserve the credit that a lot of people give them.
A lot of people were calling them national championship contenders, which I thought you go from a 5-win season to a 7-win season to national championship.
No,
and you've got to run through Alabama and Clemson to get there. You're sadly mistaken.
Definitely. But then again, it'd literally be like somebody saying USC is going to be a national champion.
They're looking pretty good.
They are, but years prior to make that claim would have been insane.
Yeah.
But stat-wise, Nebraska passing looked decent. 2 touchdowns to 1 interception.
Steven Montez for Colorado, same 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, but he had an extra 85 passing yards. I know Martinez from Nebraska only threw it 26 times, and Montez threw it 41.
Yep.
So, again, that's kind of on the coaching for choosing to go with the pass or the run versus pass. That's not something you can really fault the quarterback for unless it's a ton of options and then they choose to hand the ball off.
Exactly. Yep.
But it was a great game. I enjoyed watching it. Fox just had an incredible day of college football. They had the Army-Michigan game.
Yep.
And then right after they had the Colorado-Nebraska game.
Yep.
And then right after they had the Penn State-Buffalo game, which was really good for half.
Yeah. And better even at the end if you're a Penn State fan, right?